What's up, guys? This is Senior Fell-Handed, and today we're going to have some map tactics training with these gentlemen right here. We're going to go over every likely position everyone's going to be in on both sides of the map, and there will be a quiz, as I'm sure these guys will tell you, because, you know, I tend to call on people. Anyway, as soon as Rob gets here, we're going to go over this. Assuming he gets here. Let's see what he's driving. He's in a snake bite. He's going to be here any minute now.
Almost.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. So I'm not going to say green because obviously to Rob everything's going to, you know, be green. Your southwest corner here, the corner we're starting in, your artillery are going to be back here, typically J1, sometimes K1, sometimes even over here on the opposite side of this hill in this little kind of dip here at H1. They don't normally range out any further than this. Now, if you are in a heavy tank, the traditional spot to go is the city. City over there at K0 to F0, that whole area. Now, we're going to run left, and then we'll come back. Now, if you're in a light or a sneaky medium, oh, I'm about to drive in the hole here. An ideal location is, you know, you're going to have your primary push on this side, assuming somebody shows up down the one line. A kind of good idea here is, if you have a decent camouflage value, is to pull up right here. You can see them as they come across. Now, obviously you don't want to shoot. Like I said before, though, it depends on what tier you're in. If you're in a high tier where everybody has ridiculous spotting, don't shoot. If you're in a mid tier, you're probably going to be okay. There's a few different alternatives, guys, you can use here in addition to this. You've got a very risky, very aggressive position, but it is it's easily defensible. But it just kind of depends, because once you're here, you're going to take shots from the hill. They're going to know you're here. I mean, it's a nightmare. Now, that being said, there's a location on the northeast spawn that you can spot that is absolute gravy. You'll get 10 out of 15 easy every game. It's more or less a guaranteed scout medal. Okay, so anyway, mediums or lights is what this is for. I don't recommend anything else. You know, if you come down here with a crunchy medium like your E50M, just don't do it. You kind of have to know what tanks are, you know, pocket heavies, and that's you know, that's a pocket heavy. Doesn't have very good camo.
This is also a good spot right here.
Exactly.
Behind these bushes. That offers a, you know, you're not quite as close, but you'll spot everything coming across the other side.
And exactly.
I've gone down there a couple times successfully.
Exactly, and you have to. The situation here, guys, when you're spotting in a medium or light, is you kind of have to have a backup plan. You have to have somewhere to go when you take rounds. That's why, you know, a lot of these spots that are kind of in the open are a little dicey. Now, you're always going to have guys up here. They're not going to be necessarily here. They're going to be kind of down in this area. If they're smart, hold down in this position. Now, guys, if you start on this spawn, you have to be very careful if you go to the bridge, underneath the bridge. I don't recommend it, because the way the ground is sloped over there, B7-ish, they can kind of fire right under there. And if you back up too much, the stragglers going into the city can fire you. I don't recommend going under the bridge if you start here. Okay, let's move on. Now, you know, in theory, the best plan over here is to kind of end up pushing into a hook and run down the AB line, engage the bad guys. So, Mel, What are we going to find over here, and where is it going to be? What kind of bad guys are we going to find on this, on the opposite side?
On the crown of the hill, you'll find TDs covering the valley. Uh, you'll find Artie
Enemies got us in
backed
their
up in the
sights.
corner at A0. Your heavies will be pushing towards town. There will be a couple that will always shoot down the road from the crown of the hill covering the bridge.
Very good, Mel.
Your
That's
lights. A lot of times your lights will go down towards the center to start trying to spot.
that's good.
Anybody else got anything there?
That's good. No, you. I just want to know it's on this hill, but you told him the whole plan. But no, he's absolutely right. You're always going to have tank destroyers camping base. You're always going to. And what they're going to do is they're going to pull up on this hill, and whatever the scouts who ran down the A line or underneath the bridge there at E5 spot, they're going to poop on. Now, see guys, everything has a position and a counter, essentially. If you have your tank destroyers here and they are laying hatred, the second they get spotted, you're going to be able to poop on them. They're going to start backing up, and even if your reload is average, you're going to be able to get probably 2 more shots into them. If you're in a bat chat or an autoloader with some kick, you're going to murder them more than likely, or you're going to hit them so bad, you know, that it just puts them out of commission. But like the finesser was saying, there are going to be some heavies back here because heavies camp the base now. It's a thing. He was spot on. Your Artie's going to be down there in that hole. Occasionally they may be up here. Now another good place people like to sit is on top of this hill over here, both sides. And the good news is if you ever push the opposite flank, like if you spawn in the southwest, you know how sometimes you see guys who, now, granted, what I'm about to say, you can only do this if you have a strong presence on the 1-2 line. But you see guys that push this hill and they pop up and they spot everything and then they pop back down and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
This is perfect. If you get in this pocket right here, you roll up, you spot everything, you roll back down. Obviously, you know, you wouldn't really pull up that far, but you kind of get the idea. And you essentially have them in checkmate. Excuse me. Because they can't come over and shoot you because they're too busy dodging all the rounds from everybody moving up from the 1-2 line. So, at any rate, now as far as spotting goes, your mediums, your lights, down here at the bridge is where you want to go. There's 2 locations. The bridge is good, the other one is better. I'm about to show you the other one. The bridge is very good though. You can pull up here. You can pull up to this location and normally sit for quite a while before anyone spots you. If anybody comes down the middle of the river here, you're obviously going to get spotted. But from this location, you can actually spot tank destroyers on that opposite hill there, over there at, say, H2, H3. And obviously anything that runs the 1 line, you're going to spot. Now, granted, the downside of this is all your campers on top of the hill there who spawn southwest can't shoot anything because it's too far away. So just keep that in mind. Now, what I was talking about earlier, you remember this super aggressive spot I was talking about right there? The issue with that is you're in a light tank, so, or a medium, so you're going to get there way before anybody else. If you get spotted, if you look at that road running down the 9 line, directly where we're at, so say E9, there are going to be people going to the fight. if they spot you, they're going to stop and they can fire on you from there. So you have to be aware of that. That's why I said it's a really dicey proposition, because you're going to take a lot of fire. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's move on to the really good spot, and I only recommend this if you've kind of got a light tank or a medium with really good camo. If you run down here off the gate, you can get it. Whoa, I'm sliding all over the place. Oh, well, I can't make it up that hill. That's odd. You can get in this hedgerow. Once you're in this hedgerow and you've got good camo value, you are set. You're in a bush, hiding behind another bush, hiding behind another bush. I mean, you're, more or less invisible. There isn't necessarily a set point on how far you could push this. I wouldn't necessarily go too far. This is probably perfect. Once you're in this position, do not fire. You're going to have a lot of danger close. And you're also going to have a lot of tank destroyers on the hill that spawn southwest, as well as some heavies, clickers, what have you, that are just, going to be dying to shoot anything because nothing's going to be spotted on their left flank yet, and they can't shoot anything in the city because, well, city. So just be aware of that. But this is a really good spot. It's a guaranteed scout medal. Let's put it that way. Anyway, moving on. Northwest spawn. Your primary push is going to be heavies and crunchy tank destroyers going into the city. And what I mean by crunchy tank destroyers is, your E3 or your T30 versus your waffle. You know what I mean? Anything crunchy has armor. Anything squishy does not have armor. If that kind of makes sense. Anything in the middle, we don't really, it's not really worth mentioning, I guess, is what I'm saying, is either or. And coincidentally, anything crunchy tends to have considerably less camo. So just keep that in mind. Such as like your E50 versus your Leopard versus your Batchat, things like that. The size of the tank, the profile, all of that is included in there to kind of come up with an overall camo rating for, moving, stationary, and after firing. The good news is, though, for light tanks, is they retain their camo value whether they are stationary or whether they are moving. So they retain that high camo value. That's why they normally spot you, is because it's not that they spot you, it's you don't spot them, if that makes sense. I know it's like a little confusing there. At any rate, now once we go through here and the primary push breaks through, you still kind of have to be cautious, because a good position is once you're coming through here, same situation over there in the northeast corner. Somebody can just poke up. If they're down on the river, they can poke up, and then everybody in that southwest corner can poop on you. So just, be aware of that.
They found us.
So you guys have any questions or any awesome areas that I didn't cover? Anything that's, anything?
Oh, well, there is that, down at A1, there's that bush on the hill there. There's a couple bushes that are really handy for scouting from.
Running out of time.
Staying hidden.
Yeah, if you can manage to push up to A1, what I find is if you can push to A1 and you can kind of camp that bush, it doesn't even matter because you're going to be firing. But your primary guys are going to be at D1. Assuming you take that side, you can provide support fire, which is pretty awesome. And guys, if you've got somebody spotting and you're in a light tank and they're spotting for you, don't go up there. You're fine. Go ahead and put down some support fire. In a light tank, you don't always have to be spotting. If someone else is doing the job, let them do their job. I think we just won.
Seriously?
Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy that map tactics. We'll see you guys next time.